Well, thank you so much for the opportunity and also for the question. I think we're, like everybody else, are of course monitoring the situation very carefully, and there's a very high level of uncertainty at play right now. And as we know from a development institution point of view, times of uncertainty can be very difficult because uncertainty carries with it certain reactions. And what we often see is that as the situation plays out and as more clarity becomes available, there tends to be a significant impact on growth because the confidence is in a way stalled. So we had seen a stabilization of growth, and our outlook for growth was around 2.7% for this year. And even though we felt that was too low, it was stabilizing, which we took as a positive. Now with the uncertainty, we do anticipate that there could be a negative impact on the economic outlook. We don't know, though, to what extent, but we do know when we have uncertainty, there is an impact on confidence on investment. And when there is an impact on confidence of investment, of course, developing countries that rely on the investment, as well as developed countries, can very much feel that impact. One thing we have also noted, which we think is important, is actually over the last 2 decades, it's been quite fascinating what's been happening, which is that developing countries have increased their share in global trade. In fact, it has doubled from about 1/5 to 2/5. And this, we think, actually has created an opportunity. And it creates an opportunity now in that many developing countries can also see this increased participation in global trade also play out and create opportunities for them to look for trade opportunities within their regions, country to country, as well as new opportunities. So in many ways, we see whenever there is a crisis or uncertainty present itself, it's also opportunity. Our advice to countries is to continue to keep open economies. We believe open economies have created a lot of opportunity, reduced poverty, and continue to really seek to be as competitive as you can be. So double down on the reforms you've been doing to improve your business environment and improve your ability to compete in the world. We believe so, and we believe from the evidence we have seen, particularly for developing countries, but in general, open economies have actually fared better when it comes to generating growth because the innovation, the technology, the diffusion of opportunity and creativity that also crosses borders when you trade is very powerful. And we have seen a very positive impact on the reduction of poverty from trade. So we are very much recommending to continue to seek opportunities to have trading relationships within your regions bilaterally and remain competitive and open. The trade barriers, tariff and non-tariff, around the world have actually been quite high also in developing countries. So this is also a chance to look at that for developing countries. But as I was also saying, developing countries have stepped into the global trade with more prominence over the last few decades, and to build on that and to in many ways look at other avenues, opportunities and diversification is really also an opportunity right now. There will be direct and indirect impacts. They will play out, but this is the time to also look for those opportunities. So the impact, I think, has to be seen on a case-by-case basis, country by country. But clearly, one thing that has been on our minds for some time has been the overall reduction in ODA, overseas development support to developing countries. And this is something we've seen the trend of for quite some time. And of course, this adds to that phenomenon. And that's actually what's made us think over the past few years, and certainly since Ajay Banga joined us as president, of how does the architecture for financing development need to look for the future. And one big emphasis that we believe we need to put even more effort around this private capital mobilization. On Africa, the TICAD process has actually been very helpful because it picks up on certain issues and brings African leaders around those issues with Japan's leadership on it. So the fact that we again have dealt on reducing risk, which many African countries face from natural disasters, but also issues like sustainable debt management, or when it comes to infrastructure, has also been super helpful. So my hope is that Japan continues this and that the TICAD 9 can continue to pick up on some of these topics that I know are of importance in Africa. Having been recently to several countries in the region, in Africa region, I think they will really want to continue to discuss the expansion of infrastructure, how you finance infrastructure, how you make sure you get high quality infrastructure that provides for longevity, long life. That's very important. But also looking at new ideas around digitalization, the link to skills and jobs, and the link to healthcare, both in terms of healthy population, but also solutions on healthcare itself. And here I think African countries and Japan should be able to continue to find avenues for cooperation together. I would say that Japan should continue to invest in Africa because it is the only region in the world really that has the growing population, young population that will be the workforce for the continent, but also will really be able to set the course for development in Africa. So engaging is very, very important. Well, first of all, I think Japan has a wealth of experience to share with Africa. So I would focus very much on being able to provide that transfer of knowledge, transfer of experience. I think it benefits both countries actually. And Africa has also a wealth of opportunities ahead of it that will be relevant for Japan in the future. So I think there's a lot of opportunities for bilateral engagement between Japan and lower income countries, particularly in Africa. And I think using the World Bank Group as one partner for Japan is effective because there's a lot of areas where we can overlap and work together.